is the ASL. It's Susie here with the Week 5 transactions, back at it again. And I've got myself a pal today,
What's up, guys? Hetro322.
series regular, and that probably will stick because I just love his company, obviously.
Oh, thank you.
And we got a bunch of transactions here, so we're going to go a little bit faster through these than we typically do, as we don't want to spend like 5 minutes on each of these, as we'd be here for literally about an hour. But let's just go right into this and see what our first move was.
All right. Go ahead and talk about the trade between the Arcane Arcanines and the Newcastle Mets.
And quite possibly the biggest move. Not the move involving the most mons, but one of the most influential moves. A for a tier A move, and it was a Zapdos for a Clefable. And this trade was very interesting because when it occurred, the coach of the Newcastle Mets did not expect it to even work. He just kind of threw, sure, screw it, let's do it. So these are both great mons, and pull up their teams really fast. Just to I want to get rid of such a great mon, Zapdos, as it's been a pretty good mon for him this year. I've heard that he enjoys it. But the reason that I got rid of his fairy type is honestly because he didn't need it as much as he could have used an electric type. Honestly, it's nice, but he can replace it. And he's got a mon like Excadrill there. It's like Milotic, so I don't think it's really that needed. And plus, Zapdos just covers up Milotic so much now, it's just terrifying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't truly understand this as much. I think Gumby got the better end of the trade just because Zapdos and Kyurem Black looks very scary. Zapdos can either pivot into it or it can take whatever would hurt Kyurem bar like rock type moves or really strong dragon type moves. But Ian getting Clefable again, I'm not too sure about that. I like its synergy with like Lando T and Cobalion to be the backbone of the team. But then you look at something like Mega Gardevoir, and I'm just not
Yeah, exactly.
seeing why he picked it up. That's like my only concern in that respect. And Zapdos was really good for him. It was a solid wall.
For the next move, and this one was a tier B move, as it was a free agent acquisition here. He ended up dropping one of the most threatening attackers in tier B, Vikavolt, for one of my personal favorite mons in tier B and my favorite tier B fairy in Rabombi. It's a great move, as Gumby had to get back that fairy typing, and he dropped a mon in Vikavolt that is very nice. But when you're able to add a mon with this much speed and just make his speed tiers even more threatening, fairy typing again with also a very useful bug typing, I thought it was a great move for him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Basically, the reason that inspired this was I remember him saying, "Let me go check and see if there's any fairies in Tier B." He must have found Ribombi, made the trade, and then shortly after made this free agent drop. And while Vikavolt is good, Zapdos is just better, plain and simple. There's no other way to put it. I do like this. I don't think there were much better options down in Tier B. Maybe if like Granbull was available, maybe that would have been something. But yeah, he's got some really good speed tiers, and I definitely like this drop.
Bull's not better than Rabombi. That's an opinion, not a fact.
It's a
Rabombi is
better
the best.
defensive fairy than Ribombi.
Rabombi's the greatest fairy type of all time. It's a fact.
It's a very good offensive fairy. I will give you that. All right, next one.
Another tier A for tier A, and this is a very interesting move from yourself here, Hutch, as you dropped one of the most threatening defensive walls in the game, one of the fastest mons in the game, who is incredibly bulky to add that. Now, I think Crobat is just a great mon, and as you know, it's the bane of my existence. I should just say, you dropped Cancer for more Cancer, and Crobat is just great. I mean, it gives you just an insanely fast team. I mean, now you have Megalop, Fundy T, you can run Scarf Dragon, Crobat there. It's just going to be insane to stop your speed tiers. Also, Archeops.
Yeah,
I like the move.
basically reasoning for getting Crobat is after I played Anderson, I felt that after not using Cresselia, because I also didn't use Cresselia against Cam, I decided I was going to see how Slowking would fit the mold of a Psychic type, and it fit it fine in my opinion. So I felt like I didn't really need Cresselia, and Crobat just fits the mold of my team a lot better. Like you were saying, I can pivot into my offensive threats because I have crazy breakers. So if I can get into those breakers, it's going to be so much nicer. And previously, it was so hard to prep for fairies because I was so scared of getting HP fired by my Ferrothorn, and Skuntank, I didn't want to bring it every week. It doesn't always have a good matchup, and Crobat normally has a good matchup. So it's a better way for me to kill fairies. It's a better way for me to pivot. It gives me another defogger, which I was kind of lacking. It's a much better defogger than Skuntank. It's got reliable recovery and roost. It can be bulky, like you said. It can be offensive. It just fits so many roles in my team, and I wanted to shift it from a semi like really bulky team to make it more of an offensive, powerful team, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think the main reason you actually dropped Cresselia for Crobat is just because we know your Crobat nickname is pretty darn heat, and your Cresselia nickname is lacking quite a bit, honestly.
It is lacking. I'm not gonna lie.
That's definitely the main reason you did it. You don't have to argue about it being anything else. I mean, just because it has a much better nickname.
All right, next one.
Our next move, this transaction is very important because it coincides with the very next transaction we'll get into, but about them together, as Brad would not have made this move without the next one. So just want to go to the next move to kind of explain why it all happens?
I
Or
mean, we can just talk about what he loses by dropping Kabutops.
if I am not mistaken, I believe Brad did have Kabutops last year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And boy, did he just absolutely dominate with that thing when he brought it. That was one of the most well-used Tier 2 mons last season. Bring it back this year, this time on a solid team, and I mean, his team's doing very well so far. So why fix something if it's working so well? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's always ways you can get better, and I think Brad realized that if he can just change a few things around his team, a much bigger and better mon. So he sacrificed an offensive mon for a defensive mon, as you'll see here later.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's used Kabutops better than I think I've ever seen. Bar having it on a rain team, he's used the thing phenomenally. And yeah, let's go ahead and explain why he dropped Kabutops for Lowland Dog Trio. Let's go ahead and talk about the trade.
So Hutch, bit of a Demaster vibe this week, as he decided to shop the market a little bit, just feel it out, and just give his team a facelift. And this involved him shipping out and Dusk Ops, right? Or that's Dusknoir.
Yeah, I traded Skuntank and Dusknoir.
In exchange for one of the ugliest mons and Dusclops.
Dude, it's Heath. What are you talking about?
So yeah, I think it was a great move for both teams, as Hutch got rid of Skuntank as he already got a new poison type. Other side, you can see Brad's able to pick up Dusknoir, which is just an amazing tier 2 wall, and I'm excited to see how well he uses it, as well, he can use some underutilized mons. I think he's going to use it very exceptionally well. And also Skuntank, you got to be a little bit scared with that toxic spike potential from Brad.
Doesn't get toxic spikes, by the way.
I was just testing you, dude. You got to be kind of scared about that defog potential from Skuntank, dude.
There you go. There you go.
Oh.
But so basically, my reasoning for making this trade is I wanted a Lowland Dug trio, and Anderson had been asking me a lot, Dusclaws for Dusknoir. I didn't want to make that trade because Dusknoir is better. That's a fact. But he came to me and said I found a way to make this happen well, so we both get what we want out of it. So he decided to get a Lowland Dug trio and dropping Kabutops because I really wanted a Lowland Dug trio. Susie thinks it's trash, but he's wrong.
Just trash. Why is it good? Explain why it's good.
Dude, it's Dug trio without Arena Trap with what is it, like 10 less speed? It's not bad. It's still base 110 speed. So it hits hard. It's a fast hitting ground type and a fast hitting steel type, which I didn't already had. I had Piloswine and Ferrothorn, which are slow, slow, slow. So I wanted to get a Alolan Trio, just a harder hitter, just to solidify how well I can take on fairies, because fairies kind of beat my first three breakers. And yeah, I didn't really want to trade Dusknoir, but this was kind of the only way that I was getting Dugtrio, so I was willing to sacrifice it. And I was trying to get rid of Skuntank for the longest of time, because now that I have Crobat, Crobat does everything that Skuntank does, but better, except for Pursuit Trap. Actually, Crobat does get Pursuit, if I'm not mistaken, but it's not Stab. But I have a Dark type in Hydreigon. I got a Poison type in Crobat. I got a Defogger in Archeops and Crobat. So it's like, I don't think I need Skuntank, and Alolan Dugtrio just seemed better. And Dusclops isn't terrible. It can be a very good wall. It's just a little passive at times.
Wow, you actually explained that very well. I didn't think you'd be able to stand up for a Mon with an hideous hairdo.
Dude, it's pretty nice. Okay, it's a bad design, but it's a good mon. Okay.
All right, let's go to the next move, which again coincides with the previous two moves. And this is Skuntank just getting bullied around as it gets traded and dropped in the same day. Poor guy. Now free agent, anyone wondering if you want to get that Poison Dark type. And Brad adds one of the best T2 birds in Aerodactyl. I mean, I absolutely adore this tier 2 Mon. Aerodactyl is just so fast. It's got very good coverage. Set up if you're not careful. It can set rocks, which is very nice, as it's very fast and it can do so. And I would like to see if you could do some sets like Tailwind, Zan sets, go a little bit crazy. I'm a huge fan of this Aerodactyl move.
Yeah, I agree. It's basically him just dropping Kabutops for Aerodactyl. I think this is a lot better, in my opinion. He already had Alamomola, so he's not really losing anything on typings. And this can be Stealth Rock Setter and Defogger, which is a cool thing, but Kabutops gets Stealth Rocks and Rapid Spin, so it's almost the same thing. But yeah, I like this arrow. It gives him a lot of good speed, which he was lacking the top end speed, so now that he has this, that's a lot better. And yeah, Skuntank really was not going to help his team. He was just essentially out of this trade. All the transactions this week, I got Crobat, Alolan Dugtrio, and Dusclops, and Anderson got Aerodactyl, Dusknoir, and that's it. So yeah, I like this trade. Aerodactyl is better than Kabutops if it's not on our rain team, in my opinion. Also,
all right, so okay.
I'd like to point out that Suzy said that Skuntank is a threat. When I asked him, Suzy, do you want Skuntank? He's like, no, that thing's trash.
You have proof. There's no way you have proof.
I have proof.
Go look it up. There's no way.
I'll look it up on my phone. I have it on Discord. I will scroll back in the PMs. I know
Here,
I asked you.
I said Alolan Dougie is trash 1 week ago.
No, you said Skuntank was trash too. I'm looking this up. I hope you understand. Let's see here.
I said no, Skuntank is bad.
Dude, that's the same thing. You said it's still bad, and I'm actually hurt. Hold up, I'm scrolling up.
Skuntank is not that good.
Skuntank is solid.
Have T-spikes. That's terrible, dude.
Okay.
Let's move on so we don't get on debate.
No, I'm fine in this. Not getting away from this, Suzy.
I already found it. He said Skuntank is bad. Okay, relax.
Oh, okay. See? Proof. All right.
Okay, relax.
Next one.
is a transaction from Malone. He dropped 2 Mons 4-2, and this was today. Honestly, I just adore this move. Malone, you went out and you found a way to make a really good team, which is what you're great at doing. This Mons is just a huge upgrade in my opinion. Like Lanoon, that thing is terrifying. You can't let it set up. It's kind of like... It's just terrifying with belly drum sets. And then Cresselia, I mean... Porygon 2 is also insanely stally, but Cresselia can set up on you with Calm Mind. It can do a little bit more, in my opinion. So well for once, unlike a few years ago, I believe, right?
Okay, so we have vastly different opinions on this. I actually am very disappointed in this trade. Don't get me wrong. I love Linoon. I love the pickup. If you take away the Porygon and Cresselia trade, beautiful trade. 10 out of 10. I don't really like this because Malone has used Cresselia so much in the past. It's like, why don't you just use new Mons? I mean, Cresselia clearly hasn't worked in the past. Normally in games, it would just get toxic and then get killed instantly. So,
But he can cover for that dude. He's got Mons like Mega Aggron.
that's true. He's a more supportive team now. It's just actually wait, that flows better with Aggron. It's just I wish Malone would have had a different dynamic of a team, which he has had so far. It's just I don't know, maybe I love P2 too much.
I completely disagree. I mean, this thing covers up for Mega Aggron so well. It's just incredible.
It does
Those
cover
two
up well.
form just a terrifying core.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just his fire coverage is not the easiest thing in the world. It's a Gastrodon, which is 4 times weak to HP grass. So you want to head on to the last one?
I'm the most passionate about. So get ready. Maybe down right now. I might be a little bit too angry about this move, but you just dropped one of the greatest Mons in Pokemon. Okay, I'm just kidding. But Dugtrio is a great tier 1.
That's not a Dugtrio.
God.
We're going so well.
TearB is a great Mon. There are very few Mons I can switch into this thing. It can do so many different things. You can run Scarf, you can run Banded, you can run Agility. So many sets, and you decided to drop one of the most threatening offensive forces in Pokemon for another normal type. And they have just vastly different roles. You decided to make your team incredibly stally, and there's just little to no offensive presence there. I just don't understand the move at all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm not trying to rip on you, Cam, but I think this is probably the worst trade I've seen all season. Just because, like Susie said, you made your team 1,000,000% passive. There is no way you're hitting hard on the physical side unless, like I said, I suggested Trick Room, Drain Punch, Belly Drum, Waterfall on that.
I ran that last
Mega
year.
Slowbro. Now it's on a Mega Slowbro, dude. That's heat. But
Dude.
that's like you just don't have any physical wall breakers, and you can't beat through a team because everyone just runs an AV and just rips through you. All you have is Celesteela, which Celesteela can be walled fairly easily. So I don't really know why you made this trade, and EN pointed this out. You are trying to make a complete stall team without having like very crucial parts of a stall team. Like in a stall team, you have to have heal bellers, you have to have wishers, which you do have wishers, but like you need heal bell, you need trappers, you need actual ways to break through things, which you don't really. If you had maybe like a Vaporeon instead of a Primarina or a Clefable or something like that, just something to heal off potential toxics, I would say this isn't a terrible move because then you're going stall. But you lost your entire physical offense, so I don't really understand this. But hopefully you can make it work.
Did you just say Keel instead of kill?
I don't really know. I was kind of just running through that sentence.
Oh, what? Week 5 transaction pun. No,
What? Your voice cut out.
the week 5 transaction.
What about the week 5 transaction?
It's a pun, dude. You gotta go to my slide, the last slide. It's a pun.
Oh, get him!
Oh,
Can we get a boom roasted in the comments? Oh my god.
Hey, sorry for being so bad today, and Hutch definitely says a lot smarter stuff every time we talk about a Mon. Thank you for tolerating us, and that's going to do it for our Week 5 transactions. We'll be back for Week 6 if anyone else decides to make a move. And, yeah, peace out.